Welcome to the Be About It podcast. My name is Ben Mercedes, and I'll be your host. We'll cover financial and crypto markets, real estate, and entrepreneurship. My goal is to inspire others to be about it and take action. In episode 7, I sit down with Dr. Mitra to talk about taxes and tax planning, entrepreneurship, investing, his book, The 5 C's, and more. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Dr. Satya, thank you so much for joining me. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you very much, Ben, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you about me and my business and my involvement with the community. So this has been a wonderful journey for me, coming to America and be where we are today. So in 1976, I got an opportunity to come to United States to follow or pursue my career in biomedical research with a PhD in biochemistry. So I got a fellowship, postdoctoral fellowship in the School of Medicine in Louisville, Kentucky.
Wow.
So I came there to pursue that career.
Did you come to Worcester first, or did you end up in Kentucky?
No, I went to Kentucky first, Louisville, Kentucky, the
Gotcha.
place of Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
So I was there for about 6 years, and then I got the position of a research assistant professor in the medical school in obstetrics and gynecology department, where I used to do research. And then I got a job in Worcester, Worcester, in a company then known as EG&G Mason Research Institute, which is located on 57 Union Street, right in downtown.
Gotcha.
So I was hired there as a scientist to do research work.
Got it.
And then, things changed in my life for some divine reason, I would say. When I came here, coming from south to northeast, there's a big cultural difference. People started asking me to kind of get involved with them, to invest money, make money, and buy stock, buy 3 deckers. And it was all beyond me. I was a pure scientist.
A researcher.
So I had no clue about what they were talking. But all my friends started asking me, we want you to join us, we'll make money. So I said, well, I got to understand this.
Those are good friends.
Yeah, they were good
to be
friends.
around.
They wanted me to have, be with them and kind of do benefit from their knowledge.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what they were talking. So I thought, I must understand.
Yeah.
So I took some evening courses in Worcester State College. At that time, it was a college. Now it's a university. So I started taking the tax courses, finance courses, investment courses. But tax courses fascinated me.
Yeah.
And I went on taking all levels of courses. And, then my boss at the place of work said, hey, well, if you are taking that many courses, you might as well work somewhere and find the real world.
Yeah.
So I started working for H&R Block in the evening just for fun. And not that I wanted to do this as my profession, because I had a good job. I was a scientist. I love science.
You're single at this time?
At that time, no, I was married.
Okay.
My wife.
Any kids?
When we came to Worcester in 82 from Louisville, Kentucky, my wife and I got married in 1980.
Okay.
And went to India, got married and came back. My wife came back and we both moved here together.
Yep.
In 83, we had our first son.
Okay.
So
you were busy.
Yeah.
And you still took on a
I'm
part-time
sorry,
job.
it was 84. We had my first son.
Gotcha.
So it was a busy time. We're trying to learn things and kind of establish ourselves. So I started, taking these courses, and I learned all about the tax courses. Found it very interesting.
Yeah.
And then I went and took IRS's exam. And it's kind of a tough exam. If you pass it.
That's to become like a certified accountant? Or?
Yes, that's to become what they call as enrolled agent.
Gotcha.
It is a tax expert by the definition of Internal Revenue Service, because they test you in all kinds of tax phases, individual, corporation, trust, and ethics and accounting a little bit. It is not accounting, it is more tax. So I took that exam and I happened to pass it, and now I got a federal license to practice tax laws.
Yeah.
So IRS sent me a license to practice tax laws, but I said, what do I do with it? Because I have a good job. And this is not my goal.
Yeah.
But
at that point, were you still enjoying your job?
I was still enjoying. I was doing good job, and it was like a very interesting job I had. I was leading. I was the scientist there, and also group leader to do the scientific studies in that company.
Yeah.
We used to do all kinds of drug evaluations and everything. So it was very interesting.
Yeah.
However, I said, well, since I have the license, maybe I should do something on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So we started a small tax business from
Love it.
our basement. My wife said, well,
There
I'll
you go.
help you.
Yeah.
And that was, I'm talking about 1990.
Okay.
And that time we had another son in 87. We had our second child. And 84 we had our first child. So we had two babies at that time. So my wife said, well, I'm home. I will help you. And if you want to set up something.
Yeah.
But, all these, we have a family priest, guru, we
Yep.
call, and we believe in his blessings. So I went to his temple in India, seeking his permission. And it has always been, I believe that his blessing which helped me to pass this exam, of tough exam of IRS. And I asked him if I could open something honoring him
Yeah.
with his name as the Guru Tax Consulting Office. 1990, he blessed me and he said, yes, you can if you share the success of this business with the community later when you do well.
I love
So
that.
that became my mission.
I love that.
And that was always my goal because I grew
Yeah.
up with difficulties in my childhood. Many people helped me. So I said, well, certainly this would be good.
Yeah.
So I came and started a small practice on the side. But 1994, my guru visited us and asked me to quit my science and do this full
Full-time.
time and help people more in their science, in their tax and
Yeah.
finance.
Now, at that point, did you feel more fulfilled helping people with taxes versus like working your day job?
Well, I found it as I was working as a part-time worker. I found it was getting quite interesting to me because now I'm dealing with real people.
Yeah.
And since I had a science background, I could explain everything much better because I understood the logic. So people really liked my explanation, and they started giving me all kinds of references, and people started coming from all over New England to my basement because I used to go to television, I used to go to radio to help people giving tax advices.
That's
I started getting people from all over.
Yeah.
So I found it was getting quite interesting to me to kind of pursue this, but I never thought that I'll quit this science
Yeah.
and do this. Had he not instructed me, I would still be scientist. I would still be working as a scientist. But we would never say no to him. So once he told me that I want you on this date to quit, he even gave me a date. On this date, I want you to quit your science and do this full time.
Were you anxious about it?
I was really was a bombshell.
It's a big risk. And
Absolutely.
you were, I guess, was your wife working at that time or no?
No, my wife was home with my
So
children.
so
But she set up a daycare center at home.
Gotcha.
Because she was working. So we both were working.
Yeah.
She was doing the daycare and I was doing the science.
Got it.
But then when he told me within 2 weeks, he asked me to leave.
Yeah.
And it was, and we couldn't sleep that night.
Yeah.
But it was very because the babies, our two sons were still young, and I had lot to do in my future, and all of a sudden this change, where I have zero client to really, grow this business. I did have some clients as I was doing part time,
Yeah.
but nothing that I could make my bread and butter out of that.
Yeah. That's
But
a big risk.
I had faith in my guru's blessing. So, I thought even if he's throwing me in a ditch, maybe there is gold.
Yeah.
And I jumped.
Yeah, and there's gold. Good for you. Good for you. Let's talk about this book here.
Yeah.
You're the author of 5 C's.
Yeah.
Talk about that book, where it stemmed from, the
Well,
production of it.
this book, The 5 C's, I published it in 2 years back, January 2019.
Nice.
And it was the bestsellers in Amazon.
Amazing.
After going through this almost close to 30 years, 1990 through 2019, I had in my mind that there was a lot of hard work, there was a lot of apprehension, that we had 2 children to grow them, and suddenly change your profession, start a new business, not being a businessman ever. I thought that since I have reached now at this position, never thought that I'll be on the 16th floor of this building and being involved with the community the way I am.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a good idea to at least share my thoughts with many who are also kind of struggling just like we started our business. Many people start and they are fearful. that maybe I won't be able to compete, maybe I don't have money, maybe I won't be able to really set it up properly. So this book I wrote with the intention to give courage to those who are starting, give kind of inspiration that how you can still be successful in a place like America, which offers you all kinds of opportunities, and also certain tips that helps people the way I develop my business. And those tips are the 5 C's. So what I say in my 5 C's is all C's stand for something. One is connect. Second is communicate. Third is create. Fourth is confidence. And fifth is contribute. So connect, communicate, create, confidence, and contribute. So I say you got to be connected with people in the community. When I started my business from basement, I thought I must know this community. I must know America better as an entrepreneur. So I went to every place there was an event, I'll go there with my business card and connect with everybody. And that has given me today, I belong to about 8 or 10 board. I'm a board member of several organizations. I was the city planning board, I was the library board, I'm in the mechanics hall, I'm in the Chamber of Commerce, I'm in the Botanical Garden, I'm in the Greater Worcester Community Foundation, I was a Rotary Club president. So, this connection really made me meet the elite group of people and the real, leaders of this community.
Yeah.
And when you have that willingness that I want to give, I want to be a part of this mainstream, and the connection really made me be advancing from where I was. So connect and communicate. We always like to say, if somebody calls me, I'll always call back. I'm very strong on communication. Create, do something different. It's always easy to have another accounting office just like anyone else has. I started visiting different accountants' office and see what they're not doing that I could do. Not that what they're doing, then I will be same as them. I started focusing on what they are not doing that I could do in my business, so that will be making me different than others.
Right.
I thought that was more important than being what they are. I got to make my apple look a little different. That's why it is more sweet. So we started doing some creative things. Like, for example, you come to me for your taxes. I would ask you, I'll do the interview, I'll ask you many questions. And by the way, when I'm talking to you, I'll find out what is your interest. What is your hobby? Okay, you like photography, or you like gardening, you like fishing, you like pets, whatever. And I'll make a note of this. And when the package is all ready, taxes package is ready, we put stamps on it. And I will put the stamps on it which is of your liking, like a camera stamp maybe, or maybe a golf stamp for somebody who loves golf. Somebody who loves gardening, I'll have a flower stamp. So I go to the post office and I buy specific stamps. And then when I give it to you, at the end I give you a package and I say, I've already put the stamp. And you say, oh, you have a camera stamp? I really love it. I love photography. And that's how, I connected, began being a little different. People come to me for tax preparation in the winter time. When I was in basement, people will come in sleet, snow, and all that, and they will kind of difficult way. They come to my high hill in Venus Drive, and I'll make sure that within an hour after they leave, we call them to see, did you reach home safe? Now, how many accountants do that?
0.
So it was a little different touch, that made us not only be their financial consultant or accountant, but be someone who is personally caring for them. So this kind of difference we brought as in a creative way. So connect, communicate, create, and confident. I studied a lot. I researched a lot. After I took this job full time, I wanted to be one of the best. So I researched. I made myself very confident in the subject. Today you ask me any question, most likely I'll be able to answer 95% of them without waiting. And that made me give a position in the radio show. I was in TV show. I go to the radio show every Monday morning with Hank Schultz, and people call me, they have questions. I'm there, taking the risk of just sit there, not answer, or answer. So I want to make myself be ready to answer. So I really became so confident. I suggest everybody, no matter what job you are in, your job, you should know all about photography.
Absolutely.
If anybody's job, they should be confident. If somebody is an auto body dealer, they should know all about the car. So you have to know everything about your subject to the extent that you feel very confident and you love to then do the work. So I want everybody to be confident. And then I think when you are successful, as just like my guru told me, that you got to give back, you got to share your success. And me and my wife and our children, we are very high helping the community.
Yeah.
That's why we've created a foundation, Joy Guru Humanitarian Services, through which we give back to the community. So we are doing a lot of things helping local community beyond here, like the pandemic time. We helped hospitals in India. We had eye camp in India, in Kenya. So we go various places and help people in the best way we can. And that's the 5C about. Gives you tips. That's common sense. It is not any technical graphics or statistics that I'm writing there, but what are those common things that we are missing today? Most common sense thing that sometimes make a big difference and differentiates you from others. So that's the 5C about. And then it's got my life story a little bit in there. So people think that even though with the difficulties that I have grown up, I have grew my childhood through now, coming to this country, and then as an immigrant, and now having this position, you have to have courage. You have to think that I'm a part of this. I got to be a part of this community. I can't think that I'm from outside. And this community, particularly in Worcester, people are very generous. People are very accepting, and I'm fortunate. My whole family loves it to being here. So I think this gives you courage. This gives you tips. This gives you inspiration that anyone can do this. Don't get back. Don't move back step. Don't take a back step. If you are going to be an entrepreneur, you can do it in this country. That's what America is about.
I love it. And we were just talking about the podcast and why I started it and what it's about, but I want to encourage people to take action towards entrepreneurship, towards investing, and, being about it. So I think it's, fantastic that, your story kind of lines up perfectly with that. I'm grateful that Eric Batista, kind of reached out and said, hey, you have to have my tax guy on. He's incredible. Get him on. And he's been adamant about making this happen. So the network effect that you just talked about kind of landed us here. I'm happy to have the conversation.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about taxes and investing. I guess what tips, advice do you have for people who, maybe they're in their 20s and they want to, either, I guess, invest in stocks, cryptocurrency, or real estate? What tax advantages should we look for, or what are some things that, we might not know?
So I would just like to mention that in our profession, when it comes to taxes, I can talk about, openly anything. When it comes to investment, we have our own brokerage firm, and anything I say, I have to get it cleared by the compliance division. So there are certain restrictions. And since we are just talking, I thought we'll be talking about taxes. That's not a problem. But when it comes to investment, or particularly what stock or what mutual funds, or what kind of investment one can do, specifically, we have Security Exchange Commissions and my brokerage firm's restrictions, because I have not cleared what I'm going to say from the compliance department. So I hope you will understand that.
Absolutely.
But certainly I would say, earliest you start, in general, I would say, is the best thing that one can do. Well, you want to have wealth for yourself, start early. I actually wrote a chapter in one of the financial books, that says that be smart, start early. So if you start early, retire early, if you can be able to, if you're putting in $50 a month, from the age of 20, and continue to do that, and by the time you retire, it will be an enormous amount of money, because the snowball effect of the compounding growth of that money. So I suggest everybody to start early. Don't delay. More you delay, more you will need later to have the same kind of accumulation. And go to professionals. Sometimes people think that, well, I can sit down and I can figure it all out. Yes, you can. I'm sure that you can. Everybody is intelligent. I'm not underestimating anyone's intelligence. But I think it is, every profession has their own level of understanding about the subject. I mean, you cannot doctor yourself. You go to a doctor. I cannot do this, my TV work or my computer work. That's why I have an IT guy who takes care of it. So equivalently, I think if you go to a professional, asking, giving them all your details, all your background, that what you have, probably they will be able to give you the best advice. So I say maybe it is a little bit of money that you spend, but it's well worth it. So I
Absolutely.
suggest younger people to start early.
Yeah.
Whatever you can, get started. I used to write, in my chapter, I had written 20, 30, 50 is the formula. If you invest 20% of what you make from the age of 30, I think, and you invest it properly, and that proper investment is something that has to be professionally designated or designed by someone. So if you do 20% of what you earn from the age of 30, by the age of 50, you should have enough money that you'll feel comfortable to probably retire soon.
Yeah.
So 20, 30,
love that.
50 was my formula.
I love
And
that.
I still stay with it.
Yeah.
But people have to be disciplined that I want to do it. One of the best things that most people can do, younger people can do, is what is called dollar cost average. Like you do X amount of dollar every month. If you can do that every month, then sometimes the market is down, you buy more shares with the same dollar. Sometimes market is up, you buy less share with the same dollar. But on the average, at the end of the year, you probably have more shares because market was up and down.
Yeah.
So dollar cost averaging gives you a chance to accumulate more share, and more the shares you have, more the wealth you have. So that's a good tip that people can take and start that way.
Absolutely. I see a lot of people, Facebook and in person, they have this, they'll say things, like, oh, we need to tax the rich. The billionaires, we need to extra tax them because if we do, we can, feed everyone, or these kind of things. And then I see other posts that say, like, the wealthy have created all these industries, they've created all these jobs. Essentially, they're feeding all these people, right, through the jobs that they've created. And the tax laws are created to favor people who own stock, people who own real estate, and people who own businesses. Do you think that is true in terms of tax codes being written to favor, entrepreneurs and business owners?
Well, the way, in my opinion, I've been doing this for over 30 years now, from 1990 through this time. I've seen tax law changing, and it's so much politically driven, depending on which party is taking office. So we know that the Democrats come and they have more tax because they want to help people. Having more tax and government is bigger and bigger programs. Republicans are, on the other hand, think that no, it's your job, you do what you want to do with your money, and they reduce the tax burden. So there is a little big difference in how people are going to do. Personally, I think a flat tax rate would be probably the best, where people can really pay based on their income. It's a flat tax rate. You pay 20% tax and based on what you make. But it's not going to happen in this country because, that is not, we've been trying to do that, it's not happening. One thing that I think that there should be is, we see that many wealthy people today, and we read this, and on the TV also we hear this all the time, that they're paying zero tax. Billionaires paying zero tax. And they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Probably they're using the law that is displayed, that is in use today. So they're not doing anything. They're using the law in a smart way to bring their tax liability to zero, whereas they're billionaires. However, middle class people who are making in their just hardly 5 figures or 6 figures, they're paying big taxes from their earning. So I think there should be a limit that if you make X amount of dollar, like you have made $1 million, you got to pay a minimum tax.
Yeah.
A minimum tax of, say, 20%. So no matter what kind of criteria you use, what kind of loopholes or the deductions or credits you use that is available, you still have to pay at least so much if you cross $1 million. So that way, I think the middle class people will think that there is fairness.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lack of fairness today, in my opinion.
Sure.
That there is. The government tries to bring fairness by bringing in something called alternative minimum tax. So everybody has to pay a minimum tax. But still, people are getting by paying zero tax. So I think the zero tax concept has to be getting rid of.
Yeah.
It should not be there. I think everybody has to pay their fair share. But particularly if you are making $1 million plus, I think you have to pay a minimum tax, no matter before even if you do any calculation. 20% you got to take out for government.
Yeah.
That's your tax liability.
Yeah.
So I think that's what my thinking is.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, those middle class families, they should have an accountant like you. They should find a professional who can help them reduce their tax,
I
they owe.
always suggest that.
Yeah.
Two things that I say are very important is to plan early.
Yeah.
Like right now we just finished our tax season. This is the best time to plan for 2021 because this is August and it's the mid-year. People should sit down. Not people don't think about it because they think, well, I just filed my tax return. I don't want to look at it anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is the time people should look at.
Yeah.
Look at what you can do now to reduce your tax liability for the year, not waiting till the end of the year. So I said, go to your professional is the second thing.
Yeah.
Start early, do the planning, and
Yeah.
go to a professional because they know what is available. Now the law is changing so much. President Biden is rewriting the tax laws. The tax rates are changing. There are a lot of credits available. So, with all these things available there, you can probably change your withholding. You can probably change your estimated payment taxes. And if you don't know what to do, at the end of the year, you may end up paying a lot of money and there will be penalty, there will be tax, the interest. So I think it is best to go to a professional to do a mid-year checkup. That tell me where I stand today based on what I am making.
Yeah.
I ask all my clients to send me their paycheck stubs now, and we do a projection for them, and then tell them that you look good. No, don't have to do anything. Or I think you need to increase your withholding.
Yeah.
Or I would say you are having too much withholding. You don't want to pay too much to government upfront. I'm not of the opinion give government upfront too much money. Give what is required.
Yeah.
And we will tell them you can reduce your withholding, take more in your paycheck. All these things, if you take more in your paycheck, now you can invest that money. And at the end of the year, you have more because you invested it properly.
Yeah.
So give it to IRS or Department of Revenue in Massachusetts. You don't get any interest. They give you your money back. People are looking for a refund. There's no need to look for a refund which doesn't give you any interest or any kind of benefit. You just get your own money back from government. Government doesn't give you their own money. They just give you what you gave them. If you gave them in excess, you get it back. That's refund. So you are giving to someone to hold it and give it back to you without
At zero interest.
Doesn't make any sense to me. So I say take more in your paycheck.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important that you do planning. I say to everyone that, if you don't do planning, you might fail. But if you do planning, you will do well.
Yeah.
So failing to plan is planning to fail, is my word message to them. I just want to read one thing, if you don't mind,
Absolutely.
Ben, just to be the disclosure here. I'm attached to the Avantax Wealth Management Services, and securities are offered through Avantax Wealth Management Services, which are the SIPC approved. Advisory services are also offered through Avantax Wealth Management Services. I just wanted to, they're located in 6330 North State Highway 61, 4th floor, Irving, Texas. I just wanted to let them know. And my company, the Guru Tax and Financial Services, is not a registered broker dealer firm. I am an independent investment advisor firm, and I am attached to the Avantax Wealth Management Services. Everything goes through them. And there are restrictions. That's why we are limited to talk about what we talk about.
Well, next step, if someone wants to find you on social media or on a website, where would they go? What's your website?
My website is going to the wealth management services if they want to find me. But they can always, send me an email. Satya@thegurutax.com.
Got it.
And they can reach me at my cell phone, 508-641-8441. And, because I'm a tax consultant, at the same time, I'm an investment advisor and financial planner. So what happens is, if I have a website, that website has to be linked with my brokerage firm.
Gotcha.
Because Security Exchange Commission is very strict on what you are advertising. So I don't have a tax website because it has to have the investment side also. And for that, I have to go through the brokerage firm and have it done by them. But
Makes
they
sense.
say you can link your name to our brokerage website, and
Kinda
you
like a
can see
partnership.
all about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Very
that.
cool.
So that's
Well, Satya, this has been really good. Look forward to reading your book. Thank you for your
yeah,
time.
my pleasure. Yeah.
And I will link your email, your number in the YouTube description and on the podcast link itself. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to working with you more in the future.
Well, thank you so very much. I just want to, say that I have so many people to thank too.
Yeah.
But my business when I started, and when we had two young sons, and my wife was my biggest support to give me the support and the courage that I'm with you. Let's go. When our guru told us to quit the science and do this, and like overnight, she was the main force behind me. She said, "We'll see what we can do, but I'm with you and I'll help you." So even though she doesn't get all those kudos and bravos and applause that I get, but I collect everything and come home and say, "Sweetheart, it's for you."
Yeah.
So just wanted to mention that how
love
much
that.
force she has been for all three of us, me, my two sons. So
I love that.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
appreciate it. Thanks for taking me into for this interview.
No problem.
Look
Okay.
forward to it.